Hey, this is JTwisdom. I hope you all are in good health, continuing to pray for the world, and I hope you all are safe. I am doing this video because I was asked to do this video. I really was, the CDC was really saying that we needed to basically wear masks if we go out or in grocery stores or things like that. And because I was really at first really reluctant to even like make masks and all that kind of stuff, because I was hearing all kinds of different stories on whether or not they needed to be for people who basically people who were showing signs of symptoms, who were ill needed to wear them. Now that has changed. So like for example, I know that my hubby has a doctor's appointment this week, so I made him a mask from a video that I'll put in a link from Joann Fabrics, and I just wanted to show kind of how I am making a mask. I chose this mask because it seemed like it was relatively wouldn't take a whole lot of time to make. I mean, there are certain masks that you can make that include, like, if you want to put in like the like a what is it, a garbage tie in it or whatever. But it seems like with the Joann Fabrics video that was up online, and again I'll put it in the link, that it seems like it was relatively that there were also different techniques if you wanted to make a mask different. So I am making a mask. So this is not a sponsored post. This is just me saying this is what I'm using to make a mask. And also just wanted to reiterate about Joann Fabrics is that they actually are, if you do have sewing skills, and if you would like to be able to see, like in your city or state, if a hospital or a nursing facility needs masks made, check and see. And Joann Fabrics will actually, if you actually make the mask, they will actually distribute them too. So, because they're in a big effort, if you look at their website, and I'll also include their website also. And so let's get started. So right now I had to, according to the video, I had to make a pattern. So the pattern is 9 inches by 6, and then I actually put a line here for the fold. And if you don't know what fold means, fold basically means that, for example, that when you cut it out, all the fabric is together, and then it will open up as one. So this is the pattern that I chose. I am a sewer. I have been sewing for, I guess you could say I've been sewing since probably 8 years of age. And I'm not saying like I'm, this aficionado sewer, but I've been sewing for a while. So basically from the pattern that I made, and it's a 1/4 inch seam that I actually put on the pattern too. And so basically after I cut out the fabric, and I cut out the fabric with this rotary, it's like a little Fisker rotary cutter, and this is the little Fisker cutting board that I'm using. So then I cut out, for stability, I cut out interfacing. And interfacing, if you don't know about interfacing has glue on one side and then it's soft on the other. So I have the iron wood. I have a little water in the iron. So basically I'm going to turn the fabric on the wrong side, and then I am going to put the glue part of the interfacing onto the wrong side of the fabric. And the interfacing is the same, it's basically the same size as the fabric. So I'm letting my iron get hot, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to iron the interfacing to the fabric. I'm ironing the interfacing to the fabric. And it really doesn't take long at all for it to adhere to for the interfacing to adhere to the fabric. Okay, so I want to make sure that according to the Joann Fabrics video, to make sure like my 9 inches is going horizontal, and my 6 inches is going vertical. So right now, with making, I'll do 1/4 inch seam. I'll do a 1/4 inch seam going across, but I'm only gonna leave like a 3 inch opening. So what I'm just eyeing that, just like a 3 inch opening. So I will put a couple of pins there, and that's just to be a reminder that I'm not supposed to sew across here. So I'm just sewing across horizontally a 1/4 inch seam. Okay, so now I'm just going to do a 1/4 inch seam to here, to where the pins are, and then I'll leave that opening. And this is the opening is so I can bring the mask through to the right side of the fabric. Always do a little back stitch there. And even though this says that you can go over pins with this sewing machine, I just don't. So then I will stop there, do a back stitch. Now I'll take that out. And then I will start here. And then I'll take these out. So now on to the next step. So now they had pretty thin elastic, but I happen to have like some elastic that you could use for headbands, and I really like the elastic, and the elastic is really soft. So I use this elastic. They said that you could like cut the elastic if you wanted, but I really didn't want to do that because I think it might fray. So I decided not to do that. So now I want to make sure that I have the elastic lined up. So I'm going from the inside here, just making sure that this end is lined up to kind of, it can be a little bit past the line if you want. So I'm doing that, and I'm actually pinning that. And then I want to make sure so it's not tangled or anything. I just want to make sure that all that's even. After I make sure that's even, then I want to line that end part up at the end. So let me see if I can just show you how to do that. And you want to make sure that when you're sewing it, that you do not get the elastic caught in the seam. So now I would just double check. I always like to double check. And then so I just added a couple extra pins. And then I'll do a 1/4 inch seam down here. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side. And then after that, I'll be back. So it's all been stitched, and I'm just trimming the edges here. And so now it's pulling it through. So I will pull it through. And after I pull it through, I'll be back. So now I've pulled everything out. I've pulled the fabric through, as you can see. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to press it and then start adding the pleats. Just pressing it here on both sides. little steam on there. And so next we'll start adding the pleats. So now, and I think this can kind of be a little, it might be a little confusing to a beginning sewer, but I'm just adding in where the solid line marks, I'm adding in the where the pleats will be. And then I will add in another pin to see which is the kind of the dotted line where I need to bring it up to fold it. And then I would do the exact same thing on the other side. As I'm going up and then folding over, and then that's where one pleat will be. And I'm going to take that one out. So that's one pleat. And then I'm going to go and like she said, you want to make sure that they nest. So like this one would nest up against that one, and just making sure that they nest up against each other. So that would be one. Just making sure that they nest. If I can show that here. So you want to make sure that they nest up against each other. So then what I'll do is I'll keep doing this, and then I'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so now I've put the pins in for the pleats on the left and right side. So now the last thing to do is to do top stitch across the pleats and all the way around the mask. So I will finish the first top with you guys, and then I'll finish the rest, and I'll be back with the finished mask. So when you sew, you always want to make sure you do a back stitch just to secure those threads in place. And what I'm doing, I'm just doing a top stitching along the top edge. And as you notice that I'm actually securing that piece that opening that I had to actually open and pull the right side of the mask through. So I'm just going through at my own pace here. And if you want to zoom through it, you go right ahead. But I'm just taking it at my own pace. And then basically when I come here, I want to turn so I can get all the pleats in. Okay, so this is the finished mask. I've often been told that the pleats, when you put the mask on, that the pleats should go down. So let's see. Oh, here's the mask. So it feels very comfortable. Yes, so that's the finished mask. So I'm going to take it off, and I always want to take it off from here. And there's different videos on it if you want to have removable filters or anything like that. Granted, it is not a surgical mask. It is a mask like if you're going to the doctor for a doctor's visit, if think you'll be having a whole lot of people around, or if you're going to the grocery store, then this is a perfect mask to have. And it's washable. Remember that you don't want to touch the front of the mask. You only want to touch the loops. So if your if your the hospital in your area actually needs masks, then it is you can make a mask. You can actually make a mask. So there are also videos on if you do not know how to sew, and if you want to actually use a scarf to use masks and just some scrunchie ties, you can do that. There's so many different options, but I just felt like I was asked to put this video up, so I thought it would just be good to do that. So again, this is JT Wisdom. Continued health and be safe. God is for you. Be elegant, be bold, and be you.